Welcome to the show. We hope you have a blast. Thanks for making time for the Dealer Talk podcast. Another business leader, here's a penny for your thoughts. This ain't a regular conversation, baby. This that Dealer Talk.
What up? Welcome to another episode of the Dealer Talk podcast. This is your host, Herb Anderson. Thank you so much for tuning in. Today is the last episode of season 5. And of course, we have a fantastic guest, none other than Mr. Fred Lennart, the subprime hero. What's up, dude? How are you, man?
Living the life. I'm so excited to be here, man. Herb, I really appreciate this. Having you on our show was an honor. To be on your show, really humbling, man. And I'm super excited to be here today and talk some shop. Let's go.
Yeah, dude, this is great, man. I'm so thankful to have you guys on here, or to have you on here. Hopefully we'll get Lou on here for the opening of season 6. Lou, I'm calling you out, man.
I know he'll do it because he loves you just as much as I love you, man. So it'll be
Thanks,
good.
Man. Thank you so much. Dude, so this is great. Season 5, we're closing it out. This has been a great season because of, things like COVID. We've had some amazing guests. And, I kind of feel like I'm getting the hang of this thing after 5 seasons. So super, super excited, man.
Yes,
so,
sir.
Listen, you guys are blowing up. Love what you guys are doing over with your show. You just got back from Digital Dealer, had an incredible run out there. You guys did some pretty innovative things as far as podcasting goes for the automotive space out there. And I definitely want to talk to you about a bunch of stuff. I kick things off with a background, man. So tell us about you.
Oh, man. So obviously I'm a mixed culture child. My mother's Korean. My father's German, Irish, and English, right? So I come from a world of the military also. So I was born overseas in South Korea. My mother's from there. I was born in Seoul, so I always say I'm a soul man, right? So, and I have a lot of soul because of it. But on the serious, we traveled around the world, lived in Colorado, lived in Florida, obviously here in Kentucky where I live now, which is my home. But also, I got to live in Germany for 5 years, which was amazing. It was beautiful, my favorite place. But in the meanwhile, inside of each one of those places, there was pods of military family, which were from all over the place too, from South America, to, you had a lot of Hawaiians, you had a lot of Koreans, which was really cool for me to be around people of similar culture. And then a lot of those were blended together. So it was always fun to be around people, different foods and different lifestyles. But the one thing that I was always raised up coming from that background was, that people around you, not just the family, become family. You find that when you go to these places, you're only there for a couple of years, but you make such great memories, but you have to say goodbye, which is tough. So you kind of get used to that. But after a while, I found Kentucky, and Kentucky was my home. I've been here since 1991, which, gives away my age. I was 12 at the time. Absolutely loved it here. Not at first, but loved it here as I grew up, met great people, great friends that have gone off to do some amazing things, and some that I still keep in touch with. People I love, I consider family, like I said, but I got to build a tighter knit here. I joined the military, did 4 years in the Air Force, was an A-10 avionics mechanic, did the radio navigation systems, helped with the guidance control. It was a lot of fun. Did that out in Tucson, Arizona, and then got out, went to college for a little bit, and actually got in the car business shortly afterwards because I saw the potential of the income. And then I thought it was going to be something I did temporarily, and then turned into a 20-year career that I absolutely am in love with and I'm so passionate about. And that's what everything I'm doing, the Car Guy Coffee, is all about, this business and changing the culture so people, our kids, one day can say, hey, I want to be in the car business, Dad. And you're like, heck yes, let's all do this. And I know you feel the same way, my friend. And my son, he knows how beautiful this business is. It's provided him a great life, and the people he's met have been all fantastic. And he sees what I'm doing now, and he just believes. If my son came to me and said, hey, Dad, I want to stop going to college and decide to go do this, I honestly, what can I say besides, let's go, but you're going to have to go. And I'm going to make sure you understand this business, right? But no, man, it's a great culture that's starting to change up, and I want to be a big part of it and a big voice in it. So thanks for having me today.
Yeah, dude. No, for sure. I definitely mirror that sentiment. I've said it on the show a couple of times. Again, I would love to have that. I know maybe it sounds a little bit out there, but I would love to have that perceptions from youngsters. You know what I mean? Like, let's be in the car business. This is a place where we can have a great career. No doubt
about it. And I can go all days for that, because I believe that there's not enough after, like, there's not enough opportunities for people to hear about it. We need to start going to like good dealerships that have good, onboarding and good opportunities for young people. They need to start going to, I'm sure some of them do, but to like the high schools and start talking to them during, career days, maybe see if they can come in, volunteer and explain what kind of business that is and how you can get into it and how, and really, we should have education for them afterwards, like allow people to come go to school for a little bit, learn sales, learn the process, and maybe get them. Why not? This career, I do better than most people I know who have college educations. And matter of fact, pretty much almost everybody I know with the college education, except for maybe one or two, right? And that's not me bragging. It's just facts. Those are numbers. And I've seen that. And I know what I've been able to do. And I think that people like your podcast, Dealer Talk podcast, I love the show. And you do preach this. That's why I kind of brought it up. And I've heard it from you. And I know that you mean that. This should be a generational thing, and it's a beautiful business to be in. We change people's lives. People buy cars, and it really affects them. It's a big purchase. And to be that guide and be that friend and be that person that knows what they're doing so they don't have to worry about it. Like a doctor, when you go and they tell you, hey, this is the medicine you need to take and you need to do this, you listen to them. Right? Because they're educated. So that's why we maybe need to step back and educate more, starting in high school, getting them into the thought process of possibly getting into this business, and then showing how great it is. Testimonials, like your testimonial, mine, testimonials are huge. You know how that is.
Yeah, no, for sure. And dude, and what a great time we are just with all the digital avenues that we have available to us for the industry, right? To affect change. Right. So, like that's why doing shows like this, like your guys, is using social media to put content on there. And it's a big deal, man. Like, it makes a difference. I'm grateful that we have the opportunity to do that now,
Absolutely. Brick by brick, man, step by step, we're going to make a change. 1% a day is what I say. And it'll make a big effect after a little bit of time. You know what I mean?
That's right. So let's talk about, I want to definitely, we're going to have the podcaster conversation here in a minute, but let's talk about this year, man. It's been a pretty big year for you guys. I'm sure, the podcast obviously is taking off, which is great. But also what's going on the business side, dude, with everything that's been going on.
It's been a really wild year. It's almost hard to gauge. When you go year over year, we used to do that. All of us as people, we're trying to help dealers. Hey, let's look at your year over year and let's see what we can increase. This year has been a crazy increase. It's like, but also a decrease in a lot of things. So last year, I think a lot of dealerships started to develop better habits, getting better with the phones, getting better with social media, getting better with getting, a frictionless process to purchasing a vehicle. And also same thing in the service departments, man, they did a great job of making sure that it was clean and people felt comfortable with the things that they needed to get done on their vehicles without having to let their vehicle lapse on things that they cannot let lapse, right? So fantastic job in the car business last year. I think for the most part, the average dealer did better. Not all, they didn't do great, but they did better. And some of them did fantastic. And we saw the results. We've seen those people the ones that are on social media all the time, they show and they do it. And I love that. That motivates people, motivates me, and so that being said, great habits were formed, but then this year, switch over inventory issues. Now we're starting to see the new car market's tough because the chips, we all hear about the chip and the whole world knows now. We knew it as auto guys and gals, but now the world knows. And so there's a big shortage. We see those vehicles. I'm around the Ford plant and I see vehicles stacked up for days, just can't go anywhere. And it's unreal. It's kind of scary, but it's cool. You know what I mean? Because it's just like such a unique time like last year. You need to take advantage of those times. So this year, business-wise, it's been great when it comes to profit, I think. I believe that people have done a better job. I think with less inventory, with less even people on the sales floor, I think a lot of people marginalized and got a little bit smaller. But they're working with more. Working with less, but doing more. But they have to keep this in mind. And this is what's scary is that I think we got a little bit lazier than we did last year. Everybody's starting to come into dealerships, masters coming off. Handshakes and all this stuff are starting to become a thing again. I've seen it, which I love. And I'm not, this is not a negative thing, but at the same time, we're starting to get back. It's the old, we can go back to normal. Well, that's the problem. We need to progress, not degress when you're talking about getting in sales. We can't do things better and then say we don't need to do it anymore. We can't. And that's how Vroom, Carvana, and all these people are going to keep taking our market a little bit more. which is it's not unfair. It's freaking righteous. That's exactly what they should be doing, because we are allowing that to happen. So I see that happening right now. I see people having all this great money, making good money, salespeople selling less cars, but having bigger checks. Great. And don't get me wrong. Take advantage of the moments that you can. Understand we're not hurting. We're not actually cheating anybody by doing that. These are just because we're supposed to be doing better processing, doing these things that help people make it better. They'll pay more when you make it smoother and easier for them, when you are their car guy or car gal, all that stuff. But what's scary is that I think that we're going to go back to an old process that's going to make us look bad again. We're going to start looking like cheats, because here in a year or two, doesn't matter if you gave them a good deal, book values are going to go back to normal again. And they kind of inflated a lot this year. And when they do kind of go back to a similar normal, what do you do then, right? How do you explain to your customer you can't trade them out? They're $5-8 grand upside down, right? Or they need a lot of money down. Oh, well, the market changed. Well, yeah, great. But whose fault? They don't, even if it's not your fault, they're going to blame you because you sold the car. It's like they blame you when an engine issues on the vehicle. Imagine not being able to trade out of something they want to trade out that they normally do in 2 to 3 years, right? So you have to start being ready for that and being prepped for that. But we're doing it I think we're not educating our clients. And I think that's half the problem. We never did in the past. I think we still got to educate and explain that is a possibility. So, cut hay while the sun's shining, but we have to understand that we are going to eventually have to deal with what we've done today. Right. And that's going to happen, but you have to have a process for it. Let people know, be honest with them when they come in, maybe give them more for the trades in the future, all those things, maybe offer that in your package when you say, hey, listen, when that does happen, when you come in and you come see me, I'll make sure that you get this much more for your trade and all that type of stuff. And those are things that you can do. But this market it's kind of making us lazy. I see it all the time. I see people doing less phone calls. I see people taking less ups. I see it because they're making almost double what they were doing on one deal, so crazy.
Yeah, dude, I love that perspective, man. And a couple of things you talked about there, but one thing that sticks out, and I actually talked about this in my last session. What I'm noticing with the stores that I work with, dude, is I'm seeing the impact, what you're, like profits and all that, but I'm also seeing an increase in negative reviews.
Amen.
You know what I mean?
Amen.
So you got to be really, really careful that you're paying attention to that, because customers are, in some cases, are forced to buy the product. You know what I'm saying? And so they're going to do it because they kind of have to, but they're not going to forget, man. You know what I mean? They're not going to forget you're forcing them to pay over what the car's worth, and maybe you didn't give them enough on their trade or whatever the case was, or people are so, in some cases they're just too busy, they have too much activity it's leaving holes in the service, right? And how you're servicing your customers and the experience that you're delivering your customers. And to your point, when you feel like things are good, then it's a lot easier for you to kind of pump the brakes, and that's something that can come back, because you're already going to have issues with values, right, in the future. And that this isn't going to go away. This is going to come back. But if they had, on top of that, if they had a really bad experience and they were just kind of forced to transact, you're potentially going to lose that customer. You know what I mean?
100. And, and don't get me wrong, there's going to be times where you're going to have to help somebody purchase something that they didn't come in to buy. I mean, because they're just, obviously they don't qualify. Their expectations are just way too high. So what I do, and I always tell people, it's like, just be honest with them, paint them the picture of the future. Because it is, man, you have to give them something that they can believe can happen. And when you paint the right picture and say, like if the guy that wants to buy the guy or gal, whatever, if the customer that wants to buy the F-150, fully loaded with, 4-wheel drive with the nice wheels, but it has a specific color for all that. Well, there's a time and place for that. We all have to earn that with our credit. We have to earn that with the job time. We have to earn that with, the right amount of income to be able to purchase that vehicle. A lot of people don't think that. They see somebody driving something they wanted. They come in, I want this truck, but I make $2,500 a month. Right. Well, listen, and that's great. And I love it. But what I do is I always, since even when I was young, I would coach them, explain, hey, I get that, man. I want to do the same thing, especially when I was first in. When I first started selling cars, I was driving a beater that you had to lift the door up to close it, right? So I was just, I needed something, right? So, but I worked on my credit. I got it better, so I can tell my journey in true story and say, hey, look, my credit was whack when I got out of the military. Like I said, I was just getting by, and I was just trying.
Wait, man, the subprime hero had bad credit? What?
Amen. And I, I was never educated. Most of us don't. When we go through school, you get told, have good credit, pay your bills. But how important is that when I need things like a house and a car, when I just need like to be able to, like I have an engine issue and I need to get it fixed, but I don't have the cash, but I need credit because they do allow it, but you don't have it. So what are they going to do? So there's so many things that credit are so important, but we weren't educated enough when I was younger. I just kind of put it to side and honestly, and love my mom and my father, but man, they were horrible with their money. They were broke all the time. They worked their butts off their whole life, still do, and I love them both. And they're way better now. Trust me. They're the customers you want on the lot. They could buy anything they want. But there was a time when they had 3 kids on a military budget, and my mom was a foreigner that granted she's a U.S. citizen, but she was still second language English. She doesn't have a degree here, so she's like, they're giving her jobs, and her jobs were like almost minimum. But she made management everywhere she went. My mother was a hard worker, always on time, worked extra hours if you needed her. So she always did well, and she's very Asian strict. I love her, right? A's and B's. B's are bad. A's are good, B's are bad. I love my mom for that. She raised me in an amazing way, and will always honor her. I'm a mama's boy, but that's the key, man. That type of oomph.
Yeah, no, I agree. To not to sidetrack here, but the Asian comment. My ex-wife is Asian, so the rules, man.
There's rules but I love the Asian, like my wife right now, she's, my only wife I've ever had, Priscilla. We've been married for 16 plus years, going on 17, and been together for almost 20. Yeah. Thank you very much. We have a 17-year-old son that's getting ready to turn 18, getting ready to graduate high school next year. I'm honored and blessed to just be part of his life, man, and just see him grow into a man that I always wanted to be, so it's neat to see that, that's the legacy of us wanting to leave that. The older we get, we start thinking about that, and just so amazing. But yeah, the Asian side, she's not really strict, but she is. There's rules, yeah. A certain way, right? And all that stuff. And but when it comes to the tradition, what I love about it was the family essence. Part of it. It's so, if her aunt asks her to do something, she does it. Right. And it's so beautiful to see that. And I get it. Even when I think it's crazy, I'm like, you're crazy. But she does it without second thinking. She'll do extra because she knows that's what they're expected. It's kind of like my mother. I remember when I would first drink with her and we would take like a shot of something, and she would, she's very traditional with that. Like when we took a shot, I would have to cheers at the bottom of hers. I have to pour the shots for you elders. You always pour their shots. You never let them pour one. You pour it, and then you get it, and then you cheers the bottom of their cup while they cheers the top of yours, right? Because they're always going to be on top. And then you have to turn and take your shot without looking at them. Now that's what my mother taught me, and I use that, but I think of that as like from my mentors to my customers. When they come in, I'm going to respect them at that type of level. And when you do that with everybody you meet, to each person, you give them the benefit of the doubt. Good credit, bad credit, doesn't matter. Be the subprime hero, be the prime hero, doesn't matter what you're doing. Treat everybody like a millionaire, like they're your best friend. And maybe they don't give it back to you, but hey, that's on them at that point. But you just keep giving love and love and love and love, and it comes back to you so much stronger than you could ever imagine. So
yeah, dude. Listen, let's just from a common sense standpoint. You're telling me that if you treat people with respect and you try to help people, that good things are going to happen to you.
It's weird how that works. I don't get it. Yeah, it's just it's funky. I tried the other way a few times. It didn't work well. Things in my life, I would focus on the negative, but when I focus on positive and give positive, I tend to receive it quite a bit. So, and that's the beauty of energy and frequencies and love and God, so everything. So love, perfect love.
Yeah, dude. To me, that's a good business strategy. It's a good life strategy. So
I think that life and business are identical in all ways. You always get what you put into it, and you are you. And today it's even more pronounced because people are looking at your social media. People are watching it, and they want to know who they're dealing with. And when they know with their full heart that they're dealing with good people, they say a lay down doesn't walk on a lot. You create a lay down, right? And lay down, don't take that wrong, customers. We don't mean that in a bad way. It's people who just come in and they're ready to buy and they're good. Right. Not like there's no walls, right? And that's created. Some people, they trust you. They only do that when there's trust, and trust is something you have to earn every single time. Just like when you first met your wife, just like when you first, have a dog that you trying to, have come into the family, you have to earn their trust too, just like they earn your trust. So it's a two-way street every time. So
for sure. So let's talk about the subprime part of kind of the situation that we've been in the automotive space. Like, what are you guys seeing on your end? How has it been affected? Has it been more difficult? Has it been easier? Like, tell us a little bit about that.
It's a little bit of all of it, because there's been a shift. So like the shift is that you had the near prime and the prime that are now getting to that subprime level because they had to do some adjustments in life when they couldn't work anymore, when they couldn't do this, they had to make decisions. And some of the decisions weren't the best. A lot of the banks helped people out, which was great. But at the end of the day, after end, when it came back, there were still businesses that couldn't do what they're still, and still businesses that can't open up Europe, and then if you were a family business owned and you had a small restaurant, how tough was that? You probably lost everything. Yeah. So that being said, there's a lot of these people that are good people, just like anybody. I mean, I don't care if you're all the way down to the bottom. There's a percentage of bad people in every group. Good credit, bad credit, doesn't matter. Yeah. Just credit just happens to people sometimes. In this case, there's been a lot of happen to people this past year. America has a structure of credit and the way we do things to where you have to have credit, but they sucker you into credit quite a bit too. So that being said, it's sad, but it's true. But that being said, subprime kind of got bigger in that aspect, but which was great because those were good people that they brought into this thing, and now we're helping them, and they're easier to get bought because they're not quite as bad as the ones that were at the bottom, right? So now we're filling in with slightly better subprime, which has been wonderful. Banks are buying that and they love it. So banks have been really great. They've actually been most subprime banks have been very easing to people. They've helped them, like with the driver's license issues. A lot of people's expired during it last year, and how tough would that be to go in and get a new one during COVID? It was difficult. A lot of states are as rural as I live in, Kentucky. They didn't have any way to get it. So they were really understanding about that as long as it was within a certain amount of days. They were allowing for people, if you were on COVID, they were adjusting their, almost like they were on family medical leave, like allowing them to have that time off that they couldn't work and counting that not against them. They would just use the hours that they did work and use that as average, which was really a blessing too, because there was no way that you could sell people based off the year to date on that stuff. So there was a lot of that, which I'm so honored and so just so cool that those banks were doing it, and they were really helping us. And then now we're, to today's world, now the car market went crazy. Car values at auctions were going stupid high. You couldn't buy them cheap. They were above book values. MMR was like crazy, so we were like, what are we doing? What are we doing? Well, the books adjusted to it, which was great. I'm so happy that happened. But what banks and most subprime banks did, like if you're on West Coast, you mostly use KBB. East Coast is mostly NADA book values, right? So in a sense, now some banks use both or all three. They even use the black book or whatnot. So you had to figure out which book was the biggest one and you go there. But most banks didn't. If you were here in the East Coast, they were just like NADA only. Well, they allowed us to start looking at KBB because KBB was sometimes $2,000 more in those values. So that was great too. So that started working out really cool where banks were being more open with that. So it really helped out with that. But we did lose a lot of people to people that were right there, that you could get approved.
Right.
They dropped to that level where it's more buy here, pay here, which I really hate that happens, because I know that when they get in most of those cases, they're stuck for the years that they're in it, and it's very difficult to get them out. But right now, even more so because they barely make those values, those cars go crazy high. But no, it's been great, man. We've been able to help a lot of people. I am still sitting on about 90% unit compared to what we were doing the years prior to COVID. But when it comes to the profit, the banks have been more open, allowing more percentages. We've been getting more money down, which is I think a lot to do with stimulus. As some people call it, stimmy. But it was a unique time. March was a record. I mean, it was units and gross was a record month. April, May, in subprime, and I do about 75% subprime. They've both been record months too. So it's been great. It's been wonderful because it's been keeping the morale up and people are going good. But I'm focused on making sure they implement the program that we have, the growth that they've made. I want them to still keep continually growing. That's my whole keep growing thing, the forgive, focus, fly, keep growing. Right. Yeah. So like I continually preach, keep growing. Like when somebody will come to me and they'll sell a car and we celebrate. Oh, man, that's awesome. Blah, blah, blah. When's your next deal? You got a next appointment, because you got to think about the next, because it's not about the past anymore. And it's not even really about the future. It's about what do you have right now?
Right now. Yeah.
Right. And I try to preach that because I tell them, listen, you work only so many hours a day. After you're home, you can be as lazy as you want, but come here and have some purpose and learn and get some drive. And the beautiful part about working subprime 75% is that you really 100% are changing people's lives. You really become a car buying coach. You really teach people how to buy a car the right way, educate them on why they're in the situation, to the point where if you come in, let's say, Herb, and I know that's not the case, but you came in and you couldn't buy a car from me. I was like, man, I can't help this guy, right? I have this thing called a personalized path to purchase. And it's a form that we have. It's like a pamphlet, right? You open it up, looks like a road, but there's like a description and it explains everything that's going on. And inside there, I will get a Sharpie and I'll write what they need to do in the next 3 months, 6 months, whatever it is, 1 month, whatever it is, or maybe I just need more money down, right? Or I need a co-maker. You throw a co-maker on here, I'll give them multiple options. They come back with one of those things or all those things, we can help you. Now, how many people do that? Not most. Most people say, I can't help you. It's nice to meet you. Your credit sucks, right?
Yeah.
And next. Wow, man, that's what everybody does. That's what subprime, it's kind of tough, but I train my guys tough on the phones. I make sure they understand how to really focus on the appointment, like getting people in. Because when they get in, the experience is going to be great. The experience is going to be wonderful. They're going to find something they love, because I promise you, whatever they're driving is not as nice as what I'm going to be able to show them. And I promise you, the experience that we give them is better than 90% of the dealers that we deal with, because they don't like helping people in subprime. All they do is kick them out and tell them it's just too much work. Put them in a corner. We don't do that. Treat everybody the same. Once again, back to that. Treat everybody like a millionaire, and you will grow exponentially. You will. Yeah. Dude, it's crazy how fast that grows. And then those people become good credit because you coached them, taught them how to make good payments, maybe even set them up on a program like Smart Payment Plan, where they get their biweekly payments. It's automatic, comes out. You don't have to worry about it. Shoot. I'm just saying, treat them like people,
Yeah, no, that's very cool, man. I totally agree with that. Plus, it's got to be more rewarding, dude. You know what I mean?
Dude, it's crazy. And the people cry. I've seen grown men, 70 years old, never been able to buy a car their whole life. And I help them. They're crying.
Dude, that's awesome, man.
Dude, it's insane. The first time buyer, the person who's been on their job 2 years, making good income, but nobody will help them because they have a 0 score. I love helping those people because I feel like, I'm like, man, the only difference between me and the other dealerships that I tried, that was it. That was literally it. So, but it feels good. It feels good.
So on the finance side, man, have you seen anything like any bank pushback? Like, hey, we can't really do these loans because the value ratio is so out of whack that it's too much of a risk. Have you guys gotten any type of?
I think that for the most part, I didn't get much of that. During COVID, I got a little bit of the, they were like some banks weren't doing much. It would have to be, they weren't doing what I was telling you, like helping us with the books or even helping us with the, like their job time, being off for COVID because they were shut down, or even catching COVID, whatever it was, they weren't doing it. So I was like, wow, okay. I saw some of that because they were deeper subprime, but they definitely, they help out a lot. I mean, I don't like to talk bad because they definitely help me. I mean, even if it gives me one deal, I got to help that one person. I'll take it. Every bank's valuable to me. I just wish that sometimes they bought deeper. Banks go through, it's like, just like water, bro. Yeah. You know the deal. 1 month a bank is buying deep. The next month they almost shut the well up. They're like, no more water for you, right? So you're like, it's okay, I get it, but at the same time, it's like I feel bad, not for me. I feel bad for my clients, because that client last month I would have been able to help them, but they came in this month. Now I can't. So the hope and the dream is to give them that sheet, let them know, hey, this is what can happen. Matter of fact, we may even call you next month and just see if we can follow up and resubmit this deal after 30 days and see if we can get it, because their bank programs literally change on a monthly, sometimes weekly basis. Sure. So you have to be up and up on those, but you can only submit every 30 days a client. Some banks every 60 days. So it just depends on who it is and how you're getting them approved.
Right on. All right, man. So I want to kind of take the conversation a totally different direction and just talk more about your show and what you guys are doing and all that jazz. But before, just to leave something here for the audience, something that they could take back and implement in their dealerships like today, right? There was one thing that, whether you're a franchise or whatever, that they could do to help them in the subprime level. What would that be?
It's as simple as just making a process, a true process for subprime credit. A lot of people, they don't have a real one. They just kind of throw it up there and they hope that somebody does. And they have one guy that kind of submits, but he's not really a manager. He's a salesperson. I've seen that. It's wild. But I think that by just having a process and treating everybody that walks in the door the exact same way, I've mentioned this a few times already, it'll change the game, but it has to be accounted for. People have to be accountable. You have to make sure that every deal is being submitted. If they have a job, of course, if they don't have a job, what's the point, right? But people that can qualify based off of income, and things like that, you need to submit them because you never know. I've been wrong. I'm the subprime hero. And there's been times I submitted deals. It's like, no way. I get 3 approvals and they're like better than the one that had better credit that I pulled an hour ago. You never know. Bank programs are funny and none of them are the same. So you may know everything you know, but you never really know. So just give it a shot because I never tell a customer no. The banks tell them no. That's it. So that's how it goes.
I like that. Yeah, dude. I think sometimes we put even as salespeople, before they even get to that point, we put we make assumptions on customers based on the way that they look or the way that they show up at the dealership or the way that they're talking. And sometimes you make some pretty big mistakes.
Sometimes they're the ones that have money in the bank and they buy the whole dang lot, but they just, I've seen owners that look like that, so just saying, you never can judge them people by that. Treat everybody the same and you never know what happens at the end. I've had people come back with paper bags full of money, I'm just saying.
All right, man. So let's kind of, go into a different direction, man. I want to talk to you guys about this movement that you guys got going on, dude. So probably the question that you get asked by podcasters when you're both on the same show is, why did you start, what got you going on the podcast, man? Why take this route?
Well, it's those things, like that old feeling you get when you're in a business and you didn't know if you should be in it. I honestly was about to give up on this business. I was really getting fed up with the processes and the way people talk about us and the whole nine. I was like, man, I'm so good at this job. Why not go out and do something else in sales? And that's more dignified, right? Then I sat back and I had conversations and I hung out with my team. I remember it was a boat trip and we hung out and we had houseboats, 2 houseboats out over at Cumberland Lake in Kentucky, houseboat capital of the world. I mean, we're out there, we're having a great time. It's one of our yearly annual things we do with the dealership. And we're out there just having a good time. We spend a few nights out, but I'm around all these amazing people. I'm around people that I've seen come in the business at like 19, 20 years old that now own homes, have kids, families, just great people that are helping people every single day. I see owners that are, my owner, Tony Melito, shout out to him. Love you to death, brother. He pays for all that. I mean, we're on a boat trip that he spends, who knows, those boats, they're not cheap. And he's catering it for us. There's, all the booze, if you want booze, there's water, there's Gatorade, but we have a chef that cooks us breakfast, lunch, and dinner. He caters fishing trips for us. He does it because he loves his team. Above all, he loves his team, right? And he takes care of it so well. And I'm like sitting here going, why do I hate what I do? I think it just become like, I got stuck, right? Where I was at a dealership. We're the number 1 independent group in the state. We sell more pre-owned cars than any other independent store out there. We're having fun. I'm making money, great money, more money than I need in this state that I live in, right? And everything is great, but why do I hate what I do? Why am I embarrassed to really tell people I'm a car salesman? And I wasn't like super embarrassed, but I still had a little stigma to it, a little sting, because you knew that somebody was going to say something, like hit you with a zinger, right? You're like uncalled for, especially when I sat there and I was thinking about that, just being around all those people. And I might have had a few bourbons and was really in a good mood, but I started getting really into this thought process of like, and I was in a big growth spurt in my life right then. I started reading books again. I was doing all this. I was doing working out. I was doing a lot of things in my life, learned how to play guitar. I was in the middle of all that. And I was just, and Lou Ramirez, obviously the car guy, my brother from another mother, man, he was there with, he's the sales manager, GSM at the other store. And we're sitting there, we're just having a blast together. I mean, and I've known him since the day he got in the car business. Our families are like really close. Our sons are like best friends. Our wives are very close too. And we do all family things together. And we've been on vacation together, all that stuff. But I was like, man, we're really connecting this weekend, like even deeper, like we haven't been that connected in a while. Like, we're like, man, I was having such a good time. And we leave that. And I remember I've been watching Glenn Lundy. I had been checking out a few other people's podcasts out there and things like that. And I started getting interested in about it a little bit. I was a guest on one of my friends' podcasts and I was like, cool. And it had nothing to do with, I was actually talking about cryptocurrency because I'm a big crypto guy. But anyway, Yeah, and I was already in it.
Hey,
a
man,
couple
we
years.
got to talk offline, bro. You got to give me some tips.
Yeah, bro. Yeah. Right now it's wild west right now, but it was like, I got in it years ago, but long story short, I was on a podcast, and we'll talk about that some more, I promise. But I was on a podcast, and it was great. I had so much fun, and it was from a friend that actually was one of my employees at one point, and he started his own podcast, and man, it was so cool. And I was like, dude, what does it take? And he kind of gave me a couple tips. I was like, okay, cool. And it was in the back of my head, I want to do a podcast. So after that boat trip, I really was like, I want to do one, but I don't want to do it myself because I know myself. I'll start it and then I'll give excuses why I don't do it. I need some accountability in my life. So I'm going to ask somebody that I know I could trust no matter what, that will also do the work, because I know if I have somebody hold me accountable, he's the same way. Right. So I was like, all right, cool. So I call him and I'm like, Lou, bro, I really want to do a podcast. Would you do it with me? And he goes, do you have a name for it yet? I was like, no. And honestly, I didn't know if I was going to do a car business one. I knew I was just going to do like a motivational, let's get it pumped up, live better life. Right. And he says, I was like, no, man, why? You got one? He goes, yeah, Car Guy Coffee. And I remember I sat there for a second and I immediately was like, yep. I said, dude, I'm in. We need to meet up. Now this is like, end of summer. We set up a meeting like 3 weeks later for us to sit down and really talk about it when we had some time, because he was on vacation and things like that. So we met up and we decided that, we were going to do it, how we were going to do it. I studied, I read everything I spent literally nights and nights and nights studying like the best equipment for this and that, how can I do it without spending a ton of money. Right. So I got some good mics. I'd done all that. I got everything that I thought was right, put a lot of money out of my pocket, which when you commit to something like that, that's how you commit. You got to start just doing it. Because if you just talk about it, it's never going to happen. Then what I really did, what made it extreme, was I went out in the internet, never been on social media. I opened a Facebook account. I opened Twitter account. I opened Instagram account. I did all this stuff. And I made the announcement, 1/20/2020, Car Guy Coffee, first brew, right? Be ready, brew, be ready for that, right? So we kept using that. We were using all the coffee terminology, right? So we did that and we made that announcement, made t-shirts. I gave it to all my salespeople. I gave it to, like my owner. I gave it to my friends, family, everybody I could think of. I was just like, look, it's happening. So I made it real. Like it had to happen. But I gave myself 3 months.
You were committed at that point.
Oh yeah. 3 months of prepping. Me and Lou spent 3 hours a night on average on Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday nights. He'd come over around 11 o'clock at night and stay to 2 a.m, sometimes 3, 4, honestly. But we would practice and do one after another. We didn't know if we were going to do video and all this, but so that's how it all came about. Basically, we worked. It was an idea. I got motivated. I was in a great pivot in life. I felt like I was at a dealership. Okay, I can keep growing. How can I keep growing? I could do a podcast and I can share. I can help other people besides just the dealership I'm at, which turned into me helping. My dealership next door, I will help them. I will talk to the F&I guy and show them how to do it. I literally go to, maybe I shouldn't say this. Hope Tony don't get mad at me, but I've been given helping a lot of people, because I believe the better the car business is. Once again, I'm not about trying to make it better for Fred. I'm not trying to make it better I'm making it better for everyone, the kids, my grandchildren. I'm making it better for them. And if I could change it just 1% better every single day, that's helping other people, helping you, helping whoever it is, that the detail person, go in there and wipe a couple rims for them while they're busy doing something else. Whatever you have to do, get a car zipped in there for them. Whatever it is, we have to be better at what we do and help everyone from top to bottom, because we're all important. So that's why Car Guy Coffee started. And it's a energy. It's energy that Lou and I always had. And the name is because back in the day, Lou was in a showroom dancing, right? And Lou loves to dance, and he's got music. He always jams music first thing in the morning. And the salesperson goes, dude, what are you on? And he goes, I'm on that Car Guy Coffee, yo. And because he always called himself the car guy, right? So it was like, so Car Guy Coffee, and everyone was like, okay, we got you. So that's where it is. It's an energy. It's a culture change. It's a difference. So as we talk about it, and you know what I'm trying to do, the whole thing I'm trying to change out. I'm trying to cultivate and change the whole culture, caffeinate it, just make it so much better. Caffeinate your culture right now.
Right. I like that.
You're going to you got to wake up. All of us need to wake up. All those car people, car guys, car gals, owners, salespeople, cleanup people, everybody needs to step their game up, because I'm telling you, Carvana and Vroom is coming hard at us, and they have every right to, because we've done everything that they've shown on those commercials. So it's time to change.
Yeah. Totally. But now is the time to kind of take this industry to a different level. And it's not a bad aspiration or a ridiculous one.
Right.
to want to make this industry better, dude. You know what I mean? And we could totally do it.
I know we can. And here's the thing. The only reason it's not happening is because people are not doing it. But there's a lot of people doing it right now. You know, you're doing a great job, my friend. I'm so honored that you're here doing this. And I know you have some great friends out there that are in the pinnacle movement. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's such a great connection. And here's what's cool is I'm a podcast, you're a podcast, but yet we love on each other. That's what it's supposed to be. Yeah. When you hear, and I think the thing is that if your podcast was a negative podcast about the business, I wouldn't even listen to it, nor would I be on it. Well, honestly, I might just to throw some love on it, right? But at the same time, I wouldn't be excited about being on it. Probably, I'd be more like, I'm ready to show people that this is a good business, right? So, but here, I know that this was going to be good and was going to be fun because I already know your frequency. I already know what you speak because you speak love, man, and you have since day one on your show, man. And think about that, folks. 5 years, 5 seasons, I should say, 5 seasons of this man rocking and rolling, getting ready to roll into season 6, and he's doing nothing but sharing people's ideas, their thoughts, giving you his best ideas, so you can go out and implement them and make this business better.
Yeah, man.
You know, and we can go all day about stuff like that, man. I know, because that's what you're about too, and I love it.
Thanks, man. Dude, let's talk about that. You said something right now that got me, it took me back to memory lane, and it's that initial starting the podcast journey. You're like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing.
Yeah.
I literally have a book that's called Podcast for Dummies.
Hey, I think I read that online, man. I'm not kidding. I did all the research.
I literally bought that book, man. It took me like 3 seasons just to get the audio somewhere where I kind of wanted it to be. And then as soon as I got that a little bit better than that horrible screech that you get in the first couple of seasons, it was like, okay, let's do video. And then it's like, how the hell am I going to do that? And then the editing part of it. So,
yeah, it's so much because, you know, we don't have I'm not like Dave Villa, shout out to him, who has a freaking whole posse of team, an amazing team, by the way. I love Dave Villa's team. Shout out to your team. Man, they are just the most humble, amazing group of people. But he has a whole team of editors and visual people, and they do all that. And he's earned all that. He's built that. Don't get me wrong. But when you're doing it yourself, it's a lot, and you have a full-time job, you're doing this. You're like, all right, hold on a second. That's a lot of work. But it's like you said, it's all for something. It's to change the business, man. And that's what you do.
It shows the love for and the passion for the industry, man. It really does. Because if people, and listen, I'm humbled that people listen, and I said I just had my 100th episode like 2 episodes ago, and one of the things I said on there is like, you know, I'm super grateful that people, you know, they must be getting value because they keep coming back, right? And that's, you know, just to get to that level is like, it's great. But dude, if they saw all the work that goes behind, you know, then you could really say like, oh no, this is for real, right? Like this, you know, this is 100% a project of love. You know what I mean?
Dude, there's no doubt. That's why I respect it. I respect anybody who does this consistently in 100+ episodes, folks. You know how hard that is. We've seen it and you've seen it. So many people start podcasts and how many get past 5 or 6? It's almost over because it's a lot of work. And you don't realize until you start it. Even the 5-minute, I've seen people do 5-minute ones and stuff, and they don't really, and even those don't last. They're like gone quick. You're like, bro, what happened? You know, like I was excited about your show, and just, you know, I still like, hey, if you ever need help, I'm whatever. You know, I want to help people. I want to make it better I want this business, and voices that even the ones that disappear were good voices, but the consistency is what people want to see. And that's why you're going to have success the way you're currently having success. And it's just going to keep growing for you, just like I am, you know, and it's just all it is just continuous work. Sometimes you don't even know. You're like, man, am I really doing enough? Is people even paying attention? Well, they are.
Dude, man. Every day, man. That's the thing.
Trust me. They're listening, and, you know, going to the Double D. I saw so many people who, and they weren't just saying it because they were like telling me things that I did. And I'm like, wow, okay. How come I never seen a liker? It was nice to meet you though.
Yeah, right.
Hey, next time you like it, this way I can tell you I appreciate you back, and I appreciate you back. You know, but there's so many people getting value from what you're doing right now, to include myself and my audience, because I like to share your stuff too. So just keep doing what you're doing, brother. And man, you know, it is that journey that you're talking about, getting it started, trying to make sure you do it right. It's scary, but but now look, you've done it long enough to where you're a pro. Now you're able to guide other people, show them the light. Somebody who wants to start a podcast that's positive for whatever business it is, and they're asking you for advice, you can give them fair advice now. Hey, this is what it takes, and all that kind of stuff. So you put yourself as an authority in that spot, and you have, man, 5 seasons, folks. 5 seasons. Just got to say, it's amazing.
It's flown by too. But dude, I remember, man. I remember. So when you said that, I was like, oh, dude, yeah, man. Those are the days, bro. You're like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing.
Yeah, but it goes by quick when you put the work in, man. And and you look back and you're like, wow, I've come a long way, man, a long way. So it's amazing.
So what about let's talk about Digital Dealer, man, because you guys did some stuff over there that was crazy, man. I love seeing it, man. Like, we were
lit down there, man.
Yeah, broadcasting from there. You had a bunch of people. Like I saw El Patron. I saw Ben Stuck, Glenn Lundy.
Yep. We even had Shay Rowbottom from LinkedIn. She was there.
I saw her.
Glenn brought her as a guest, and she was so gracious to sit down with us. And I know, I've connected with her, and she even gave me a book. Matter of fact, it's right over here. She gave me this book to give to my brother. My brother, I haven't seen him yet, but I'm about to. It's a book about like words, like basically you can heal yourself, you heal your life.
Is that her book, or she just recommended?
No, it's a book because I was telling her about my brother. She was awesome. She's so beyond her years. Like it blew my mind. So mad shout out to her. She just was asking questions and then just, here, I got an idea. And when I got her book, and I was like, okay, cool. Thank you.
Right on.
Yeah. It was really cool, man. So she's a very spiritual person, and I absolutely love her. And she's amazing on LinkedIn. She knows what she's doing. So if you want to learn something, go pay attention to her. I paid attention to her back before I started anything. And I used a lot of that feeling that she throws out because she's using personality. She's being goofy, like I do, being seriously silly. And she does it better than I do by far. That's why she is who she is. But she definitely is somebody I could look at as like, hey, man, you've definitely helped me get to where I'm at. Just like watching your shows helped me get to where I'm at. Watching, Glenn Lundy helped me get to where I'm at. Just so many people I could throw shout outs. Dave Villas, watching Alex right now, Alex Flores with his new videos that he's been rocking and rolling with, man. And man, beautiful stuff. He's killing the game. And, he's just preaching what we are all preaching. Make this business better. Quit being lazy, be accountable, do it right. Help people. Help. Do your job. That's all he wants you to do. Be consistent, and that's what makes him special. And that's why he is who he is today, So I just want to be something like that, help people out, be a voice that people listen to and helps them. So
are you guys going to do that deal? Like, I'm sure now it's going to become a regular thing, right?
We are booked all the rest. Every convention you can imagine, we're booked. So we're going to be there. So be ready for the loud craziness. So yeah, Digital Dealer, we went crazy. You guys, if you were there, you know what we did. It was fun. But like my friend Lori Foster said, we were the most energetic. We were the most fun. And she also said that, we were just open to everyone and any person that walked up to us. We were always just really kind to them. And that's what is, once again, it's just called being a good person. That's so crazy. Energy. Not everybody has that. Not everybody's brave enough to stand on stage, but neither was I. That was my first time, folks. I'd never done anything like that before. I just went with my heart and I left it all out there. Lou is a great speaker. Lou's been speaking for years. He does a lot of youth ministry. He does a lot of youth programs. He gets out there. He'll host big DJ stuff out in the middle of the street, big fairs and stuff. And he'll have his dancers come out and they rap, hip hop, all that type of stuff, play guitar, some skaters. But he's always been that MC guy. So he's always been that spiritual uplifter. And he's so great because he's so amazing. I mean, I remember being at Digital Dealer. Shout out to you, Lou. Love you, bro. But you shined like no other. I mean, when he was up on stage, the stuff that came out of his mouth, I was just blown away. And I literally was just like, wow. I mean, he says the same stuff about me, but I honestly tell you, he killed that show. Lou Ramirez is one of the best speakers I've ever seen on a stage. It's crazy if he doesn't become a keynote speaker at most of these conventions in the next year, because he will completely dominate that stage. He will make it so amazing and such an experience. Like the way he came up there, and it's so touching and it's so love felt. And his words are just, he's a wordsmith. He's much more of a wordsmith than I am. I'm more direct, like, right? He's more of let me butterfly you, move around, let you get tired, and then I'll get you right. So he's amazing. And, I think I did a good job too, of course, but because I had such a good time, I didn't even pay attention. I just was like, oh my God, this is such a blessing to be here. But
in the moment.
I was in the moment all week long. So we came away with a lot of opportunities. Lou and I are starting our new agency that's getting ready to launch. Actually, it has launched, but it's just not in full drive yet. It's still in first and second gear. But yeah, it's certified solutionaries. It's something that's going to be huge. I know it is. We're going to help change the culture of dealerships across the nation. And then we're going to help other consulting firms and people like that get bigger too, because we're about loving and sharing, and we want to team up with people and start a whole new network of just amazing solutionaries out there. And that's our thing. We're solutionaries, and you're a solutionary, my friend. To me, you're a certified solutionary in my book. You don't even have to go do the course, right? You just are the man. But there, that's a culture. It's a mindset. We believe in 5 core values, and our first one's love, and love is so key. And I mentioned that a few times today. Second one is faith. And faith isn't just about religion. Faith is believing that what you do, there's going to be a good result from it because you're putting in the work, right? And then there's honor. Honor is not just looking good and being right. It's about honoring everybody who's helped you get to where you're at, your parents, the ideas of being a human being, all those things that were put into your brain, into your culture, into your way is how you honor. You honor people by doing the right thing when you're not supposed to, right? You do the right thing when no one's looking. And that's how you honor. And those 3 to me are really, really key. Of course, we also believe in adaptability, because you have to be able to adapt in today's world very quickly. So always understand, just because you're doing it now and it works doesn't mean it's going to work tomorrow. It might need to adapt. Right. And our last one is consistency. And I've talked about that a lot too. And consistency to me is the key to all 4 of those. If you're not consistent with all that, then if you're not consistent with all that, then you're out of the water. You know what I mean? So
dude, no, listen, man, I thought that was brilliant. It was great. Can't wait to actually see you guys in live here in Vegas doing it. It's going to be super dope, I'm sure.
Right.
And I love what you guys are doing, man. Just keep doing what you're doing. It's helping a lot of people, and the more you do it, the more opportunities to impact others you're going to have. And that's what this should be about, right?
And that's all I want to be about, being on your show. I'm honored, because I feel like we're going to help do that and bless it onto other people. So if you're new out there, if you're thinking about getting this business, if you're somebody in this business or whatever, this business is amazing. Love this business. Never allow it to get worse. Make it better every day. It's not hard. Just do the right thing. You don't have to be shady to sell a car. You can be an honest Christian man that just loves people, woman, doesn't matter who you are. You can be anything. You could be an alien from the space. And if you have a good heart and you do this business right, I want you to work for me or with me, or I could work for you one day. One of those things, just be righteous and be the right person and love people. So, man, I appreciate you for having me on the show, bro. Seriously.
Yeah, man. There you have it, folks. There is one question that I ask everybody that comes on the show, and that question is, where do you see the automotive industry headed in the next 5 years, and why?
I see it heading way more virtual. I see it being way more opportunities to help people, not just in your local community, but worldwide. I believe that the business is going to get better. I know it because I'm in the mix of it right now. I believe that voices are getting stronger. I believe that salespeople are going to be the big brands, not the dealerships. So understand that you have to be ready for your salespeople to grow and blossom, and you need to encourage it and love on it, because the more that people know who they're buying for, the better. Now, if you need to have a superhero at your store, man, make one there. But understand your salespeople are the real superheroes. They're the reason why people come in those doors. The BDCs and all those are all salespeople, just so you guys know when I generalize that. But everyone, if you're helping people get in this business, you're helping people change lives, you're helping people do a lot of different things. So keep growing. Don't forget, forgive, focus, fly, and keep growing. And that's how this business is going to get better. You have to let go of the past, focus on your future, really get a plan, and then fly to it. And you'll go so many places, but you have to keep growing, keep growing. I love you. I love the car business. Let's keep it going.
Thanks, man. Thank you so much for doing this, dude. Again, this has been awesome. Hey, if you guys are not checking out the Car Guy Coffee podcast, you need to do that today. I'm going to put all the links to all their stuff in the show notes, or if you're watching this on my YouTube channel, then check out the video descriptions for some more information. But you got to get on this today, right now. Don't wait. Go to the app, save it in your phone, and start tuning in right now. Thank you so much again for doing this. This is awesome. Thank you guys for tuning in. We really appreciate it. That's all the time that we have for today. And as usual, we'll talk later.
We only host a well-respected. The vendor LexisNexis. We don't sell digital marketing.
What you do?
We inspected with our DT vendor management solutions. We come in like the EPA to clear out the pollution.
Take the trash
Go
out.
keep your P&L clean. Your inventory.
From product pitches, meetings to cost negotiations, your vendors have you swamped. You have cars to sell, but most of your time goes in managing your vendor relationships. Wouldn't it help to have someone navigate the way ahead? Enter Dealer Talk Vendor Management Solutions, a filter between you and your vendor so you only have to deal with what's most important. We inspect your digital data to get optimum results for your money. Here's what we do. Give you an accurate idea of what's working and what's not for every digital service. Get vendors to submit monthly highlights, lowlights, and recommendations. Sift through their data to give you those metrics that matter. Evaluate all package, content, or cost changes and product pitches. Do monthly marketing budget analysis to ensure better ROIs. Finally, we give you concise reports and monthly videos with actionable insights. Now, you can focus on what really matters, selling cars. Contact us today and your first 30 days are free. Let's build your business together.